What's up? What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls? Welcome back to the Purpose Pod, purposely driving you forward with power and faith. My name is Allen Levi Simmons, and I am your host. Thank you all for joining me today. It is a pleasure to be here with you all. Life is strange, you see. Life is strange, you see. We are all going through trying times, and lately, my heart's been hurting, and I've just been going through a lot personally, with just thinking about how, the courses or life is just turning out, and people are, turning against each other, and there's just the war inside of humanity is just it's a lot to deal with, and I try to think about like how I was going to come on to the podcast today, and today I'm starting off my month, my June, and I'm only doing Tuesdays, from here on out. So I'll only be doing Tuesdays for the Purpose Pod for the past since March 21st. I was doing every day, except for like Sundays maybe, but I was doing every day for the last since March 21st. I started my podcast, whenever quarantine came about, and I was going ever since. So June is my first time going on by myself, my first time kicking things off, and I just wanted to introduce myself to a lot of you, and give you the vision for the Purpose Pod, and have a discussion about what's going on right now, and in our pursuit to our purpose, because I realized yesterday that even though I'm searching and I'm seeking for my purpose, and I'm trying to live out my purpose, and I'm creating these businesses, and I'm coming up with different ideas, I'm starting different books, I'm reaching out to people, I'm helping people. Even while I'm doing all of that, people are hurting. So I was going to cancel the podcast today, but I was like, nah, the radio station, the news reporters, they don't cancel, their business for what's going on. They actually use their platform to discuss it. So that's what I want to do today. What up, Fode? What up, everybody? What up, Vanessa? What up, Kendall? What up, Kitty? How y'all doing today? Y'all doing all right? Hey, yo, real talk, Fode. It's real talk. He said it's fire commitment, and I was really hesitant on starting today, because I was like, man, maybe I need to go be doing, maybe I need to do something else, and I didn't know if it was selfish, because I'm like, okay, well, I need to go ahead and still run my business, run my podcast in the midst of the chaos. And I guess it's my duty to bring my podcast, because while we're still going through this COVID-19 and the issues with African Americans and the police departments, and just government as in a whole, against minorities, it's just really sad to see that happening. Even though all of this is happening, we still have to pursue our purpose. We still have to pursue our dreams. We're still trying to create a life for our descendants and our children, and we're trying to create wealth, and we're trying to create a freedom to chase your dreams, the American dream. That's what we live for. So I wanted to sit here with you guys today to talk about all that is going on, and not to go deep, but to really discuss how we can live our life and still pursue our purpose in the midst of chaos, in the midst of everything happening. So, if you guys have questions, or you want to chime in on how you're adapting and how this is impacting your life right now, please do throw out some comments, and I'll read them out and we can discuss it, because it's important for us to realize that people are hurting in the midst of their pursuit, in the midst of their pursuit of happiness, in the midst of their pursuit of success and wealth. They are hurting, and I was hurting last night. I was really, crushed spiritually, and I look back in our history as Americans, and, as where African Americans came from, and how, throughout time, there's been this oppressive spirit over our country. And people of color have always been always fought to live for their purpose and with their purpose, and it hasn't always been easy. So it's not so much of a, oh, black people are going through things, oh, it's all about them right now, why is it all about them? But it's our country has done a lot to people of color, and I understand that it's not my white brothers and sisters who um, they didn't have slaves. I understand that. I know that you didn't own slaves, or your parents didn't own slaves, but maybe your grandparents did. I don't know. That doesn't even matter to me. It doesn't really matter to me, because the thing is, we have to address where we are right now. In order to move forward, we have to recognize where we are right now. So if we fail to recognize where we are as a country, if we fail to recognize where we are as a people, we will not be able to move forward together, because we're not coming to an understanding of where we are right now. And a lot of people are not united with their way of thinking, because our sense of justice may not be other people's justice, and our liberty may not be other people's liberty. You can see that right now. People are taking their rights to protest, and there are people who are infiltrating those protests and creating chaos in the midst of all of that. And while all of this is going on, I couldn't help but think about the leaders of our country, and I couldn't help to think that they're not in the trenches. And it's cute to be at a protest. It's cute to be there, but are you losing are you losing the support of those who don't have the same values and standards as you? Are you afraid to lose those people? If you are afraid, then you have to reevaluate yourself. And there's nothing wrong with that, because I was battling today. Do I come on my podcast? I just started my podcast. Why would all of this happen when I just started my podcast? I could make it all about me if I wanted to, but I don't. It's not about me. I have to use my platform to bring unity amongst all people of color and people that are not of color. And it's the experiences that I've had that have allowed me the opportunity to have served with men and women from diverse backgrounds. And I've been in school and colleges with people from diverse backgrounds. I just don't understand why we don't have this one goal mentality. Like, we have this one goal, which is to boost mankind, but we cannot boost mankind and civilization until we uplift the ones that have been hurting the longest. And it is clear in America that the African American people have been hurting the longest. And that's the truth. Whenever we can address the truth in our country, that's when we can move forward. The truth is where we are right now. And I said that earlier. When we can address where we are right now as a people, then we can move forward. And, I've battled, man. I've battled with like Googling, like, protests from 1960, 1950, 1920, whatever. Right. I was all the way back. Vietnam War. I was going back to those different protests, and I was looking at the pictures, and I'm like, man, the police were sicking their dogs on people. Like, they were dogs ripping clothes off of men and women. There were police officers dragging men on the concrete. And I'm thinking, war was never like this. For me, it wasn't. When I went to Iraq, when I went to Afghanistan, there were rules of engagement. So when I see people on Facebook, and they're belittling the people who are hurting and rioting right now, I'm disgusted, because our country was not founded on peace at all. It was never founded on peace. It was a revolution from the beginning. So why is it that when people of color are revolting against a system that was not designed for them, why are they deemed as evil? And that's the truth that we have to talk about. That's the truth that we have to face. Like, why, when you're looking at someone, even when I do it, like when I look at another person of color or a person of a different ethnicity or background, and if I judge them based off of what the social media is saying about them, and based off of what the news media is saying about them, like, then my vision or my understanding of this person is already jacked up. It's already miscued, because my thought process has been infiltrated by negative thoughts. And that's what has happened in our country, is that people have seen the negative image of Black people, and it has crippled the African Americans in our country because of the thought process of our white brothers and sisters. Because all of you can admit that you have a certain way of perceiving African Americans, and you may have had to correct yourself at one point in time in your life, the same way I had to do about Caucasians, because I thought that a lot of Southern Caucasians were racist. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina. So let's talk about it. I'm from Charleston, South Carolina, Summerville, South Carolina, and we have had a whole lot of issues in the South. So these people that are angry, I asked them to reflect on maybe their family lineage. Maybe they didn't have slaves. Maybe they knew somebody who owned slaves. I don't know, but I do know that your history overlaps with our history as well. So just because your parents didn't own slave, you were still your family was still a part of that history. And that's where you get the blame game, because obviously, you could tell someone of color and you could tell someone that's not of color, and you could say, well, I was probably from, my family probably originated from your farms, from your family's farms. We could have that conversation, and not get upset and angry, because that is the truth. And so I understand that all white people did not own slaves. I understand that. And that's what we have to understand. So my whole point today is to talk about how we need to move forward. In order to move forward, we have to be truthful in where we are right now as a people. And the only way that we can pursue our dreams and goals is when the country is stable. I see a lot of people trying to make profit off of what's going on right now, and it's kind of crazy. And that's what's holding me back in business, honestly, is that I'm cheap, for one, and I'm cheap to the point where I don't want to charge people for a lot of stuff. I'm just like, I just don't want to do it. And maybe I need to change in the near future. But right now, I couldn't imagine like dying tomorrow and not releasing what was inside of me because I wanted to put a price tag on it, so don't get caught up in the waves that are happening right now in society while you're pursuing your purpose. Don't get caught up in, the past so much that you forget to forgive and move forward for the future. And if we really do want our government and our system and our community to work as the same way that we dream for it to work, the same way that Martin Luther King Jr., his dream is not over yet. It hasn't really happened yet. Yeah, we're all going to school together. We're all hanging out together. Yeah, we can eat Fruit Loops together. We can hang out, go to the mall together. We could be on the same football team, be in the military together. All people of all races, ethnicities can be together. But we're still not there yet. And we've been sold that the dream has been lived, that we're in Martin Luther King's dream, and we're not there yet. And you know why we're not there yet? Because we're still doing the same thing that he did. And that's why we're not there yet. So yeah, like I said, this is a discussion. I'm not preaching at you guys. I'm just sharing what's on my heart for my platform so that you guys know who I am and what I stand for. I do stand for justice, and I do stand for peace. And I believe that me serving in the Marine Corps, me going overseas to Iraq and Afghanistan, for me to come back home and to see the things that I saw when I came back home, it hurt my heart. Even as a military member, it hurt my heart that certain things happened. There were racist groups in the Marine Corps in Japan. They had formed together and started beating up African-American males. It was crazy. So it's so sick to see people still with that mentality. And that's what we have to address. We have to address the truth. The truth about the people in our families who are holding us back. Black people, Hispanic people, Asian people, and whatever you are, white people, whoever you are, there are people in your family that are like dead roots. And we have to uproot those people, not like remove them from our family, but we have to remove their systems. We have to remove their systems from our lives, right? We have to remove their way of thinking from our lives. If granddaddy and great granddaddy did not like black people, you got to remove that systematic approach and that biased approach. You got to remove that from your mind, because it's not going to help you grow. And we don't want to continue to raise children in a world of racism and injustice. No, we don't want that at all. Like, I'm pretty sure white people want their children to grow up safe. And you know what? Surprise, surprise. Black people want the same exact thing. We want the same exact thing. And that's the thing that we're missing when we're shooting racism and we're shooting black and white and we're yelling at each other and we're not communicating. That's the problem. That's the problem. Do I want a utopia type society? I don't know. That might be a little weird, to have this peaceful society, but I do believe that it is possible for us to just have a little dignity, to have a little respect for each other, to have a little self-respect, to care about the next person next to us. The Bible talks about loving our neighbor as we love ourselves. Like, when will we get to that place? That's my question, is when are we going to get to that place? When are we going to get tired of seeing innocent people die in America? When are we going to get tired of the streets being filled with blood and anger and rage and division? Like, when are we going to get tired of it? That's the question. Like, I don't want to stand on the street and yell at police officers. I want to sit down with a cop and have a conversation with him. Like, hey, what is it about me that offends you? Or what is it about me that makes you so angry? What is it about me that makes you feel like you can't trust me? And that's the conversation that needs to be had. We don't need to yell at each other. It's not like, oh, yeah, that never works out. I'm pretty sure we've all seen fights, right? And when you watch a fight start off, and these two guys are yelling at each other. You talk to my girl. No, you talk to my girl. No, your mom talk, and they just go back and forth. Everybody talk to everybody, and they're upset and they're yelling. And people on the sideline, they're just getting really excited because they know something is about to go down. And in our society, we have those kind of people, those people that know that something's about to go down, right? They know that something's about to go down. So they're like, oh man, let's watch. So while police officers and protesters are fighting, and I love seeing that the police officers knelt, in front of the protesters here in Charlotte. I thought that was amazing because it showed a sign of, like, they're willing to surrender their pride. They're willing to surrender years of wrongdoings. They're willing to recognize that even if there wasn't them, that the people that are a part of them did some wrongdoings to people of color. So that's what we have. The truth has to be discussed in order for us to move forward in purpose. So that's just my mentality right now. Is like, Allen, how do we move forward? Well, the only way to move forward is to address our past, address where we are, and then to keep things moving forward. Hannah says, yes, that was amazing. Willingness. Exactly, Hannah. Willingness. When we're willing, to lay down our lives. That's what I love about the military. And this is going to be a great random conversation. Sorry, guys. But that's what I love about the military. The military, even though you do have some outcasts, you that you're going to meet people that are going to be willing to lay their lives down for you. Even if they don't know it yet, they don't, the one thing about the Marine Corps is that I knew that I would have to possibly one day lay my life down for my country. I knew I signed up for that, right? But I did not understand the capacity of what it meant to lay down my life for my country until I was in Afghanistan, and I was on the ground in Afghanistan because people were shooting at us. And at this moment, and at that very moment in time in Afghanistan, I really understood what it meant to lay down your life for a brother, to lay down your life for someone that is not of your blood. And that's what the power of love is. The power of love is, I will lay down my life for the person that walks through that door, for the next person that's at that stoplight and their car runs through or a truck runs through their car at the stoplight. My love is going to make me hop out of that car to make sure that person's life is okay. And that's the kind of love that God wants us to have for each other. So when I talk about the brotherly love of the Marine Corps, that's what I think about for our country. We had arguments, man. I'm telling you, Marines, we have arguments. We might even throw some hands at each other. We might fight. You might see us fight. But I'm telling you that when you bring us on that battlefield, we will fight together. We will fight together. So I'm not saying that there will not be any bickering between people of different ethnicities. There won't be any wrongdoings happening in our country. I'm not saying that, but the overall people have to take advantage of the thought process that we have, which is, I love the person next to me. So if you can honestly say that to yourself and to other people, then you're not the problem. But if you can't say that, like if you honestly, and look, I've had arguments with people before about that thought process of, hey, can you love the person that walks through this door right here? And people say, no, I don't know them. And that's the problem. I don't know half the people I've met, and I love each person I've met because I've grown a relationship with them. And that's what we're afraid of doing. I could keep going. It's like, oh, and that's why we're not growing as a country, because there's no relationship developing between different racial demographics, so we don't have that happening. It's on a small level. And we as Americans, we always like to play the small level thing. Oh man, hey, look, over time, it's going to change. Over time, things are going to happen. Over time, it's going to work out. We have that the little bit mentality until it's something that we really, really desire, until it's something that we really, really desire to see. Like, we want to see change, or we're going to fight really hard for that change to happen. And that's when all people are fighting for that change to happen. Not just one group of people, but all people, all white people and all black people fighting for one thing, which is equality and justice for all. And I know that sounds crazy, right? Oh man, we're looking for equality. We're looking for justice. We're looking for people to love people despite their color. We're looking for people to love people despite where they come from, despite what area of the neighborhood they live in, despite what kind of home they live in, despite what they smell like and look like. We want people to love people. It's so hard to do that in America. And I'm only talking about America because I live in America. Everybody else, you guys got to figure out your own stuff. I'm worried about our house as a country, because when it's time to sign that dotted line to go in the military, it's not about, oh, you black. I mean, it might have been about that, before, but now it's not about that anymore. It's not like, oh, you're black, you can't get in our military and fight for our country. No, if you can sign up for this country and die for this country, then you have a right to be in this country. You have a right to live in this country. You have the right to pursue your happiness in this country. You have the right to start a family in this country. You have the right to fail in this country. And that's what it's about, man. So, don't get it in your head. This American dream is not just about success. It's also about the failures that we encounter as a human race in America. In America, I just, like I said, I'm I'm talking about my feelings and my thought process, as a veteran, as a black man. I feel like I fall in a couple of different categories. I'm a veteran. I'm a black man. I'm a black man from Summerville, South Carolina. I'm a black man that's been in an RPG explosion. I'm a black man that's been shot at by the Taliban. I'm a black man that's been pulled over for racial prejudice, right? I'm a black man. I'm just all jacked up right now. I'm a black man. A black man that's been through some stuff right now. A black man that's been suicidal. A black man that's been addicted to alcohol. Like, oh my God, I'm just all over the place, right? So what is it about me that makes me different from any other black man that you may encounter? I don't know. Maybe our personalities. Maybe that's it. But you shouldn't treat me different because I'm a lighter skin, or somebody may be a lighter skin than me. You shouldn't treat me different because I was raised in a certain kind of house, which I wasn't. I was raised in a blue trailer right there. So you see what I'm saying? So like we have to lay down our prides. Greg, proud of you, bro. Love the pod. Appreciate you, bro. And look, I'm trying, man. I'm trying to just stay, relevant. But, I want you guys to ask questions. If you have questions, please ask questions. If you have comments about what's going on, please just let's have a discussion, a respectful conversation about what's going on, because, people are hurting, like I said, and we can talk about moving forward towards our purpose, but I'd be doing you guys a disservice. And I don't want to do that. And if you don't like the Purpose Pod after that, then I'm sorry. But as a country, hey, Christian, can you hear me napping? Sorry, my nose started running. As a country, we have to worry about our fellow brothers and sisters. Hurry up, boy, my nose running. My nephew helping me out. Nose start running because I'm getting so passionate. I'm like really crying inside. Y'all don't see it yet. But yeah, man, I've been through a lot as an African-American male. And, I don't want to blame anyone for what I've been through. I'm not going to blame just white people for what I've been through. I've had some traumatic experiences with black folks. I'm telling you that. So I'm not playing the race card at all. I'm not playing the victim card at all either. Like, I'm not a victim. No, I've just been through hell on life. So, in life. So a lot of you can understand what I've gone through. You can understand what I understand what you all may have gone through. Some of you have lost, brothers and sisters that were not due to racial, issues with the police. Some of you have lost fathers and mothers, sisters and brothers. Like, throughout the year, COVID-19 has wiped out a whole lot of people. And then we have all of this unjust killing and the police raising up against the African American and the minorities and the people of color. And it's just chaos. That's what it is. Chaos. Hey, Amber, how you doing, girl? You fine. That's my wife. But yeah, chaos is happening, and no one really cares to see why this baby, figuratively speaking, no one is really checking to see why the baby is crying, why the world is crying, why she's crying out with agony and pain. No one's checking to see why. We're like, oh my God, we're doing the wrong things. Like when babies cry and you give them milk and they're still crying, you're like, what is wrong with them? And you're like throwing everything around. No, the baby, change the diaper. Or maybe the baby's tired. Maybe the baby's having a fever. Like, we have to check the state of our country and see what's wrong. Like, stop throwing out like, oh yeah, this is the problem. This is the problem. Let's find out what the problem is. A lot of things are symptoms, like my runny nose. My runny nose is a symptom that it may be cold in her, or maybe the temperature changed because I cut off the AC unit, so like, we see the symptom and we see black people dying. We see black people dying on American streets. We see black people dying by the hands of police officers, right? And then people say, oh, well, Allen, what about the blacks who are killing each other? I said that in a very Caucasian voice, and I tried to, and I'm sorry. But I apologize. Y'all probably do that too with black people. Don't try to play me. But anyway, so Allen, what about black people who are killing black people? Like, what do you say about that? That's like I said, that's a whole nother conversation that has to happen with black folks. We're over here with our country and our people. Stacy, she over there laughing. Yeah, my bad. I'm playing. But yeah, so black people, just like white folks with the KKK and all. Like, so we're having an open conversation. So please don't get like, oh my God, he said KKK. Oh my God, he said black. Oh like, don't, please. This is a very open discussion that we're having here. So I believe that black people need to worry about black folks, right? They need, when it comes to like black crime, like, we need to get our communities together. First of all, yeah, we all know that. Like, that's just everybody. I just wish that black people would get together. Like, I believe that if my grandmother was alive right now, Sarah Simmons, like, she would be one of those people like to get the families involved. You know what I'm saying? And you push those people out of the neighborhoods. You push the drugs out of the neighborhood. You push those people who are beating people up in the neighborhood. You push them out of the neighborhood. Flush them out. I really believe. I wish we could do that. Like, people are stealing, causing, doing all this stuff and causing, just chaos in our communities. Yeah, like, look, hey, we're going to give you a warning because you probably grew up wrong. You probably didn't know that you're not supposed to steal from your cousins, and you probably didn't know that, because of how you grew up. So we got to understand that a lot of people are not growing up the way we grew up. That's just the truth. So I'm not excusing people's, misbehavior. I'm not excusing what they're doing, their actions, but we do have to understand that people are not raised the same way. So you got the guy out there molesting kids. He was not raised the same way as you and me. I'm not excusing what he's doing or what he did, but he is not raised the same way as you and me. You have the racist guy. You got the racist white supremacist guy, the Nazi guy, whatever you want to call him, right? He was raised a certain way that, like that's how he was raised. So like, we have to you got the black guy who may want to rob you at times because of this, or you got the black guy who does XYZ, whatever you have, whatever kind of person, you can fill in the blank all day long. But we have to go back to, maybe the way they grew up was not the way I grew up. Let's start there. Let me see. But white people must get their community right as well. Exactly. I don't know why my nose is running like this, but you're so right, Stacy. White folks need to get their communities right as well. We all got to get right. Like, there's a way to get right without being racist and saying like, oh, we're going to separate from everybody and we're going to just try to focus on us. Nobody's asking anyone to do that, right? We're just saying, hey, we need accountability. Like the Marines with the Army and the Air Force and everybody else, the Marines got to take care of the Marines. Marines, you guys, when you guys go to war, you're accountable for your actions over there. The Air Force is accountable for their people. The Army is accountable for their people, but we all fall under the armed forces, right? So that's how culture is. You have blacks, the black forces, the white forces, the Indian forces, the Mexican forces, right? I'm just putting them in military branches, but you got all of these people from different groups, you know, and it's not about putting us, we always talk about each other in Marine Corps, Air Force. We always like, yeah, the Air Force guys, they got pillows and stuff when they go out in the field ops, you know, they have AC units in the desert. So, you know, we always talk trash about each other, but when it's time to ride, we ride. And that's what we have. That's what we're calling for in America right now. You know, in the pursuit of our happiness, in the pursuit of our peace, in the pursuit of justice, in the pursuit of love, in the pursuit of everything that is good and lovely and everything that is under God in this nation, you know, that's what we're pursuing. So while we're pursuing this, why not work together? Why not say, hey, look, we've had a jacked up past. The Native Americans had it real bad. The Mexicans had it bad. Asians had it bad. White folks had it bad too. White women had it bad. You know, so everybody had it bad at one point. I don't know. Some white guys had it bad. I don't know, not all of them. But anyway, but some people had it worse than others. And some people just had a great life. And, you know, I had to watch myself because I'm like, man, if you think about it, get myself together. But if you think about it, some people have lived a very luxurious life and it could make someone really jealous. It could make someone really upset. It could make someone upset, you know, but it doesn't have to be that way. You know, when you think about people who've had hundreds of years of a head start, I told Amber this morning, I was like, man, it's just like, you know, my white brothers don't really realize that they had a head start in the race, not the race of races, the race of life. Like their great grandfather started the race. We're doing a relay race in this life. If you guys know this, we're not doing sprints like personal best. We're not doing personal best out here. This is a family race. Like you want your family to thrive when you leave here. That's just good. And that's good. You want America to be great, but you want your family to thrive, right? That's all of our obligation is home first. Like you got to take care of your home. If you're not feeding your family and you want to go feed Africa, you're wrong. You know, if you want to go preach the gospel in Kenya, but you can't preach the gospel in your kitchen, you're wrong. You know, so like you gotta check yourself before you wreck yourself, right? So we have to look at those things. So as a people, you know, we're protesting in the streets, but have we protested in our home to make sure that everything is aligned, that we are a unit, that we are together? And then we go out into the community and we connect with the community with one mind. And we say, hey, we're connecting with the community. And then you keep branching out. But that's how you grow. We keep trying to attack the government and people in power, but we really need to start at the bottom with family and community. That's what we need to do. Family, community. That's what we need to do. But yeah, so that's my spill on that. I hope y'all are enjoying it. If y'all got questions, like I said, please throw your questions up in the air. Questions. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. I want to know what you guys think. Stacy's very vocal. Greg's vocal. Hannah's vocal. Fode's vocal. Amber's vocal. I need some more participation with you all because I want to know what is going on in your mind. Like, what do you agree with what I'm saying or do you disagree? Allen, you're wrong. You're totally wrong. You know, whatever it is, I want to hear it. I got thick skin, you know. So I just really desire for us to grow together as one nation under God. You know, and I think it's important that we take a second to pause and to not jump into the chaos. We pause for a second. We think about our mission in life. We think about our purpose in life. We think about what we want our children to inherit in this great country. I say great country because we do have the potential to be great. You know, we're mastering things, separately. Like, oh, the blacks are doing this, the whites are doing this, the Asians are doing this. Oh, but we need to come together, and not saying that we have to like just be kumbaya all together every day, but we have to be one-minded, man. One-minded. It would be a terrible thing to have nothing. I'm not gonna say that part, but yeah, let me see what Matt has to say. A lot of people are raised right but still go left. Ooh, fire. Matt Kingdom, that's my boy right there. Bro, you are so right. A lot of people are raised right but still go left. Like, why? Man, I should have gave y'all the link. So y'all could have got on here and jump on here with me. But we'll do that next time. So oh, matter of fact, let me see. I got an idea, y'all. One second. So if you're listening to the audio, I'm sorry that you're witnessing my extra goofiness right now. I'm gonna post a link. Oh no, I don't want to do that because some random might jump on. Never mind. So anyway, but yeah, Matt, I agree. People are raised right but still go left, and I think the reason why is because once you get a little bit of freedom, your character comes out. Your character is you were raised right. Your parents taught you a certain way of living, but you never accepted what your parents were teaching you. Like our parents could teach us a whole lot of stuff. You can learn a whole lot of stuff, but if you never accept the lessons, your character and everything else was never affected by it, and then therefore you can go left all the time at all times, bro. So yeah, you're right. And I think that's the big thing as well, is that we have to come together, even after our failures and our flaws, and say, hey, look, I messed up. I went right, or I went left when I should have went right. My bad. You know what? Let's start over. Police officers, hey, look, guys, I know so-and-so, that was messed up. I understand that, and I understand that we cannot bring these people back, but, we apologize. Like that's the conversation that we're missing in all of this. Part of communication is that in order to encode and then to transfer a message, and then that person to receive and then decode that message, you have to speak with love, and you have to speak from a place that is bringing reconciliation. Us blaming the cops and the cops hitting people with nightsticks and shooting mace and all this stuff in people's faces, that's not going to fix anything. Accountability, 100%, Matt. Accountability, and that's what we're asking for, as a people. And when I say we, because I see a lot of posts and people be like them, they, those, they, and I feel like it's racially justified. Maybe that's just me being from Somerville, South Carolina, when people be like they or them, yo people, that's what I hear when I hear a lot of that. So let's not do that anymore. Let's not toss those them, they, those people, because we are one. We are united in America, born in America. So where do we go from here? Where do we go from sadness, joy, peace, happiness, frustration, anger, jealousy, envy? Where do we go from here? And some say, protest, continue to protest, riot, whatever, right? Other people say pray, seek God, read your word, and other people say stuff happens, and it's just going to be what it is. I don't know. There's a whole lot of people saying different things, and I really couldn't give you the answer. I said that with a straight face. I was like, I really couldn't give you that. I really can't give you the answer there. What do you want to see? Do you want to see God bring peace on earth? Well, then if you want to see God bring peace on earth, what are you going to do to lay down your life to bring peace on earth? When you tell Americans that, that's when you get a riot. when you tell someone that they have to lay down their freedom for the sake of others, they don't want to do that. Because what did they do to earn my freedom? What did they do to earn my life? Right. So when we think about this as a country, as a people, when you have a black man on the street, on the pavement with the police officer stepping or kneeling on his neck, right? And then you have people not acknowledging the wrong that is happening in our country, it hurts. When you have people getting upset because people are kneeling on a flag, it hurts. When you get upset about people burning a flag, it hurts, because there have been worse things done to people on this earth. And I wish that we all were just as mad as those who were mad of peaceful protesting. You know, when blacks were, when they had the colored only, colored only water fountains, colored only stations, colored only barbershops, colored only apartment complex, colored only. Colored people have been pushed down so long that frustration, anger, and rage is kind of like a symptom of what's happened to colored people in this country. It's a symptom. Like we're seeing the results of prejudices and prejudiceness and wrongdoings and injustice. And we're seeing the symptoms of that right now. And we can travel back in time. We can travel all the way back in time, and we can see it happen over and over and over again. And that's why today I'm so frustrated, because it's going to happen over and over and over again until we really do something about it. We really do something about it. We really evoke change. And that requires all of us to lay down our lives. To lay down our lives. Laying down your life doesn't mean, oh, right, today I got to go jump in front of a car or anything of that nature. Laying down your life is the willingness, being willing to lay down your life. So when the next time, God forbid, but the next time you see someone getting their neck knelt on, you would lay down your life. It's a lot to ask for. But if you want that kind of peace in this country, that's what you're going to have to do. And that's something that Martin Luther King Jr. understood. I can say that because look at how our country has not developed since the civil rights movement. We've always talked about the positive things that have happened over the years. Blacks are allowed to play in the NFL, the NBA. We're allowed to do school. You're allowed to do this. You're allowed to be around these people now. It's like we're allowed to, and I'm just so hurt that we are allowed our freedom, but we don't have freedom. I don't want to be given my freedom. I want to have freedom. So the frustration with a lot of people goes back beyond these recent events. It goes hundreds of years back, and that's how much pain is within these people and within our people and within our country people. Like there's so much pain, man. There's Minneapolis, Minnesota. Like this is not the first time things have happened out there. The redlining, and the zoning that they did for housing out there way back in time, way back when 5,000 whites were standing outside of this home because blacks had moved into their neighborhood, like where whites were burning crosses in southern homes, when blacks were pushed out of communities and were not accepted into communities, when blacks were not allowed to buy property, when blacks were not allowed to attend schools, when blacks were not allowed to read. So you just have to see where the frustration comes from first, and in order to understand why there's rioting. It's not just the right now thing. It has always been like this thing, and people are tired of it. People are tired of it. And looking back when the Vietnam, riots, when the soldiers were saying, we're not fighting any rich man's war anymore. They riot. When women wanted rights, they riot, right? When gays wanted rights, they rioted. They protest, whatever it is. Like, people do these things and it happens, but we do not have to demonize people because of what they're doing, because they feel like their voice has yet to been heard. So when you have somebody acting out, right? When you think about a kid acting out, your goal isn't to go over there and beat that kid to death because they're acting out. They're upset. They're swinging and they're hitting. Your job isn't to go over there and beat that kid to death. Your job is to go over there and to figure out what's wrong with this child. Why are you acting so crazy? Why are you frantic like this? Why are you hitting people? Why are you doing this? Find out the why. Find out the why, and you can find the root. You can find the root to any system that is crumbling. When you ask the why are people rioting? Excuse me. Why are people looting? Why are people upset? Why are people scared? Like we have to ask the why questions. We're so quick to want to respond to everything. Like, oh, well, it's this, oh, it's that, it has to be this, oh, it's that, black people got to do this, white people got to do this. We're so ready to respond. Why not sit and reflect and think about the life that we've had as a people and how we've messed up as a civilization and where we can correct our wrongs? We can never make things great again, whatever that means. We can never make great things. We can never make things great again, but we can make things better. I got that from my auntie yesterday. Actually, she didn't say the great and we can't make America great again thing, but she said, our family can't be great as it used to be, but it can be better, right? When you wipe your nose, you just got to make sure you're good. But yeah, so our goal is to make this country better for all people. Better for your sons, your daughters, your cousins, your neighbors, the black guy you saw at Walmart yesterday, the black guy you saw at Target, the black guy you saw on the news with his mugshot, the white guy you saw on the news with his mugshot, the white lady you saw on the news with a mugshot, the black lady with the mug on the news, whatever. You get what I'm saying? Like, we have to be united, and we have to ask the why. Why are people revolting? Why is the system malfunctioning? Why are people hurting? Why are people crying? Why are people yelling? When we ask the why, we have to be ready to receive the answer of the why. And so I saw something on the internet earlier on Facebook, and it was this white lady. She was talking about, like, I think she's 46 or 56 or something, 46, 56. But she was just discussing how the maintenance guy that was fixing her washer. I'm pretty sure you guys probably saw that as well, right? She was talking about how she asked him a question. She said, like, how do you feel about what's going on? And she was like, oh, he thought she was talking about COVID-19. Oh man, COVID's crazy. But no, she was like, no, how are you feeling as an African-American male? How are you feeling right now about everything that's happening? And he was amazed that she cared. Right. And there's questions like you could ask a black person. I'm gonna just put y'all on the 411 right now. There's a question that you could ask a black person. You could ask a black person like, hey, so how you doing? You can ask them that, right? But then you can really say, hey, I know I may not know everything. And this is what I believe the lady name was Kelly at the protest. I believe her name was Kelly. I think her name was Kelly. I hope her name was Kelly. But we were talking at the protest the other day. And, this white lady, she was talking to me, black guy, right? And she's asking me, like, how do you feel? And I told her, Kelly, look, there's been times where I'm walking down the sidewalk and I'm going to cross paths with a white lady and I get uncomfortable. And it's not because I'm scared. It's that I'm uncomfortable because I feel like I'm making her uncomfortable. My black skin is making her uncomfortable. And that's what I feel. And it's sad that and there's a reason why. See, like, we can't just say, oh, you're just making up those feelings. There's a reason why I feel this way. There's a reason why black people feel scared when they're in the cops and the cops pull up. I mean, when they're in the car, when the cops pull up behind them, there's a reason why they're scared. There's a reason why white folks may be nervous around black people. There's a reason why. Okay, there's a reason. So let's not act like there's no reason to justify why people are the way they are. So like I said, we have to find the whys. Why are we acting this way? Let's see what Rick says. Big bro, Allen Simmons, God bless you, sir. Much love to you and the family. Bless you too, Rick. Hope you're doing well. Hannah, that makes me so mad. I know, Hannah, I know. It'd be like that. Rick, real talk, bro. Facts. There's definitely a reason, Hannah says. There is definitely a reason, right? Like, Hannah, think about this, Hannah. Think about this, Hannah. I'm going to talk to Hannah. Hannah, I wish I could bring you on right now. This would be a great conversation. Black guy, white girl, right? But Hannah, so check. So, Hannah, let's say I was walking, let's say it's like 6 o'clock, right? Let's say it's evening time. You know, the sun is kind of going down and the moon is coming up, right? And Hannah is walking down the street because she just got finished with a 5-mile run. She's walking back home. And Allen just got off of work. I have a car, but for this situation, I don't have a car and I'm walking now. And me and Hannah have never met before. And we're going to walk past each other on this sidewalk. Now there's an interstate right on the right side or on the side of us. So Hannah can't just run out in the road to get out of my way, right? So let's talk about the experience that these two people, Allen and Hannah, will have when they're walking on the sidewalk next to each or passing each other, right? You have Allen, the African-American male, and then you have Hannah, the Caucasian female, right? I don't know where you're from, Hannah. I don't know if you're Irish or whatnot, but I'm just going to call you Caucasian for today because I'm black. All right. So Hannah, right? So Hannah, we're about to pass each other and things are happening on both sides of the field because there's a reason why. Allen is wondering if Hannah feels threatened. Without Hannah doing anything, Hannah doesn't even have to gesture. She doesn't even have to frown or anything. But Hannah, she doesn't have to do anything. She just has to be a white woman. And Allen just has to be a black guy for these things to happen. When it's like a chemical, right? It's like formulas. When you put this with this is a possibility, and this could happen, right? So when you put a black guy walking down the street with a white woman, the black guy, let's go here first, or ladies first. Let's go for the white woman first. The white woman here, Hannah, she feels maybe nervous, like, oh, dude, I don't know this guy. I don't know what Hannah thinks, honestly. Hannah, could you please write? And I'm not going to judge you or anything, but like, let's say, Hannah, you were walking down the street, random black guy, 6 o'clock in the evening. Any person could feel like, I got to make sure this person don't try to rob me. But there's some things that happen because of race, And over here, she says she's always nervous when a man is walking past her. So cool. So let's just say, so that's when a man walks by you and I'm by myself. And Hannah, that's cool, because I mean, I'm not saying like that's cool that you feel nervous, but it's cool that it's okay to be nervous, when you're a female and you're walking down the street by yourself and there's a male, because people are crazy, right? And it's not just black people, it's just people in general, right? So people are crazy. But in our country, in America, there's this odd thing that happens, and it's called the race thing, right? The race thing usually pops up in our mind. You know why? It's because we've been conditioned in our country to see race. We've been conditioned in our country to see race. It's, oh, those are black folks, those blacks over there, those whites, those Mexicans, those Hispanics, those Asians, those, like we've always done that. And we haven't been able to do that in a way that we're like, oh, those are the African Americans. Those are the Caucasians. Those are the Spaniards. Like we don't do that. And it's like, oh, those are our people. Those are Americans. They're American at the end of the day, right? We need that to happen. So Hannah, when we're walking down the street next time, make sure you're aware of why you're nervous. That's what I'll say. Make sure you're aware of why you're nervous. I had an incident, here in Charlotte, and it was a black guy walking from the woods area, when I was coming from my car, and I was like, oh snap, man, black guy. Terrible. I was like, oh snap, black guy. I don't know this black guy. Something could happen here. And I was like, yo, this is terrible. No, it doesn't happen only in America, but in America, we have that happening a lot. It's just like, oh man, you see a black guy you don't know, you tense up. Why? Because of media, social media, the media, they push that agenda, and they've been pushing it for years and years and years, that black men are criminals, that black men are dangerous, that black men are violent, that when black men get angry, somebody's going to get hurt. Right? Right? Yeah, probably. So that's not the case, though. I promise you, that's not the case. I know a lot of black guys that get angry and they don't go do nothing crazy. They just get angry. Like we're humans. I'm a regular person. Like if you put me next to a white guy, like you're going to get not the same stuff, but like, I'm just not going to do anything outside of a human, like the norm of human nature. You know what I mean? Like, just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm about to dang start climbing on a pole. You know, just because I'm black doesn't mean I'm just going to start dancing. And, you know, like, that's all that you see. America, we have to detach ourselves from the old system. Literally. I'm probably going to jail for this for sure. That image is pushed. Exactly, Hannah. So yeah, like, I don't want to yap you guys ears off. I really wanted to have a heart to heart with y'all so that y'all could see like what I'm thinking, because you guys are following the Purpose Pod. Hopefully you're following the Purpose Pod on Instagram. You're following. I don't have an Instagram post up yet, but I'm on Instagram. I'm on YouTube and Facebook, the Purpose Pod. I have people come on my show and I interview them. We talk about purpose. We talk about their journey. We talk about everything that they've gone through and how can people walk in their path? How can people do what they do? How can people be a successful entrepreneur or a business person? So we talk about that on the Purpose Pod. I don't even talk about politics or world issues in my podcast or at my brunch events, but this is necessary. This is very necessary because this is a state of emergency, not because people are rioting, but because people are dying. People are being murdered. That's why it's a state of emergency, because people are being murdered by the same people who are meant to protect them. That's why it's a state of emergency. So whenever you're having conversations with your friends and family members and stuff like that, and they ask you your opinion, please detach yourself from the systematic upbringings that you may have been raised in. You know, please detach yourself from racism. Please detach yourself from those implicit biases. You know, like, just detach yourself from those things. Melissa, what up, Melissa? Thanks for your thoughts. Very similar to a convo I had last night with a friend. And I'm glad you're having that conversation, Melissa, you know, and that conversation needs to continue to happen. Like, as we progress, as we move forward, the conversation has to happen. Like, we have to talk about like, okay, Melissa is a white lady. Hannah is a white lady. I'm a black guy. Right. And let's put Matt on the elevator too. Let's put, and Matt Kane, I'm putting on me. We got 2 black guys and 2 white ladies on the elevator. Sounds like a joke. Just sounds like a crazy joke. Let me drink some water on that one. All right, cool. So we put 2 black guys and 2 white ladies on the elevator. I don't have anything to say about that. I just don't know. I was just trying to make something up for y'all, but I don't know what I'm going to say about that, Hannah and Melissa. I'm sorry. But yeah. So usually you put people on the elevator. They usually look at their phones like, oh man, who's calling me? Or let me do this while, you know, or have y'all ever walked past people, right? And like, you're the only one in the hallway with them, and you're about to walk past that person, and like, all of a sudden you look at your phone, you're like, oh snap, let me see who's calling me. You know, just so that you don't have to make eye contact. I've made it my goal throughout my life as a young guy. I realized that I was always Hannah's laugh. I realized that I was always nervous walking past people, like that one-on-one awkward, like, oh, we're about to pass each other. This is awkward. Right. I've had that. And I was like, man, how do I nip this in the butt? How do I like get rid of this, like, this thing that we do? Right. So I was like, all right, I'm just start staring at people. I'm gonna start staring at you like this. No, I'm not gonna do that, but I'm gonna just start staring at people until they acknowledge me. That's what I thought at first. This was, you know, I was younger. I was probably like 15, 16. I was like, I'm gonna start staring at people. So I started staring at people. They probably thought I was weird or something like that. And then I realized, I was like, oh, well, let me just stare at people and say hello. So I do that. If you walk with me anywhere and we're about to walk past somebody that's by themselves or with their family, I'm going to say hello. I'm like, hello, how are you guys doing? Oh, good. Okay. All right. You know, and we don't have to ever see each other again. But I feel like that's what we need in America. And that's what I love about the South, kind of. Even though the South has been through its own war and own battles and all that crap. I love Southern hospitality because, you know, I was raised that way. My grandma didn't teach me to be rude to anybody. My grandma taught me, yes, ma'am, no, sir, yes, sir, no, ma'am, all that stuff, right? Not to put my finger in my nose while everybody's looking at me, make sure nobody's watching. I'm just playing. But yeah, my grandma gave me some principles to live by, right? So I'm just like, all right, let me make sure I greet people. And, you know, one thing about going through like PTSD and depression for me is that when I was depressed, I wish that people took the time to go past hello. like go past the, hey, how you doing, Alan? Hey, bro, what's up? You trying to go smoke? You trying to go drink? You trying to go do this? Like, what's up, bro? I was getting that, but I wasn't getting, hey, Alan, I remember you sharing a story about Afghanistan, and you know, I I couldn't even imagine what you went through, during that time. But are you battling anything? Are you okay? That's what we need. That's love right there. When we are concerned about our brothers and sisters that are next to us, like I said, we have to start at home. We have to start with our family members. So if you're not communicating with your family members about how they are doing, then why are you wasting your time with the community? You know, I just don't like to think that, you know, we do this a lot of times. Like even as Christians, like we'll preach the gospel to everyone else that is not in our family, but we will not preach the gospel to XYZ in our family who does XYZ, and they've been doing XYZ since they were XYZ years old, right? We give up on people, and at least that's what it is in the Black community. It's like, oh, so and so is still on crack. Oh, let's leave them there. And like, let's take the gospel to India. Let's take the gospel to Jamaica. Let's take the gospel to California. Like, no, it starts at home. It starts at home. So let's I'm saying this because when I was just doing stuff with family, nephews, nieces, and all that stuff, and just having the conversation about the future, about how to invest and how to take care of their money and how to get through school and how to be a better person, how to be a better student. Like, I'm not going to sit out here and motivate other people's kids. And when I'm not even motivating my nephews and nieces, like, that's just ridiculous, right? I'm not going to motivate other people when if my sisters and brothers can't come to me and be like, yo, Alan, I need a word, or can you give me something? Like, the door is open for everybody, but family comes first, right? Family comes first. So while you're grinding, remember that there's people out here broken, and we can't fix those broken people until we learn how to fix our broken homes and our brokenness, our own individual brokenness. Like, we have to learn that. And that way we can say, instead of saying, oh, you got to do this, you need to do this, you need to do this, we can say, well, when I was in your position, when my family was going through that, this is what we did. And maybe you can apply this for your life. Cool. So yeah, this is the Purpose Pod. This has been a very, very great conversation I've had with you guys. I enjoyed the conversation. I hope you did as well. And if you guys are not subscribed to my YouTube channel, please go subscribe. I started it like March 21st. I'm trying to build this brand and build my podcast and get out there. I want to interview people so that I can inspire the world, and we could change the world with our attitude and our character. So if I can make more Allens out there, that would be awesome. And a lot of these people are hurting. So I'm looking at where they're hurting. I'm not like, I don't want to push hope when hope isn't what you need right now. You may need food, right? Or tissue. You may need something besides the hope that I'm trying to give. You need something besides motivation or a 10-step process for success. I get that. Like, everybody is pushing for the advancement of wealth when souls are depleted, when souls are broken, and when souls are hurt because of what's happening in our country. So before you think about making money off of people, think about how you could help people. Think about how you could touch their soul so that they can create generational wealth from that. So please don't. Love listening. Thanks, Hannah. You are spot on. You've gained a listener. Wow! Thank you, Hannah. I appreciate it. Those who are listening on my audio, I apologize once again. Hannah just said I gained a new listener, so I just had to act up one time for Hannah. 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 All right, so the whole time my nose is running. So anyway, yes. I feel like we've covered a lot here, class. I feel like we've covered a lot. I feel like we've gained a lot. I feel like we've let loose a lot. I don't know. That didn't make sense. I feel like we let go of a lot. So please, please, please do your best to be your best. Do your best to live on purpose, for purpose, with purpose. Do your best to submit yourself to your fellow citizens of America, do your best to love your neighbor as you love yourself. And most importantly, love God above all. So this is the Purpose Pod. I'm coming back next Tuesday, but I'm coming on Thursday to talk to you guys about my next episode, my next show, my next guest, and I'm going to let you guys know. So please stay tuned. I love you guys. Please stay safe out there. Please do not have any implicit biases leading you on your journey towards a United States of America. This is the Purpose Pod. Peace.